Jesus says the kingdom of God is like a very weird little family with a dad who's very much like God and two sons who very much aren't. The older son has his own problems, and we'll get to him in a minute. But let's start with the younger son, because the younger son goes up to the dad one day and says, "Dad, I'm sick of hanging around here. I want to go out and do new things and see new things and live my life. And well, when you die, you're going to leave me stuff, right?" And the dad says, "Yeah, I guess, yeah. A little less than your brother, but you'll get some stuff. You'll get, I'll take care of you." "Well, good, because you see," the younger son says, "I don't know how long you're going to live. And you could live for a long time, and I could be an old man when you die. And I want to be able to use this money while I can still have fun with it, while I'm still young. So, Dad, here's my idea. Now, hear me out. You give me my inheritance now, and I will take that money and go and enjoy my life." And now, if you were the dad, you probably could think of a number of things that you could say that would be reasonable. The most reasonable one is, to me anyway, is, "What are you, an idiot? This is my money. Go get a job if you want money." Another option would be, "Let's talk about this again when you're older because you're clearly a child." And there are many other things you could say, all ending with no. But this dad, who is very much like God, does something unexpected and says, "Okay, we'll do it." So he sells off a little less than half of the farm. They had a big farm and livestock. He sells off a little half of the livestock they were growing. He goes to the bank and pulls out about half the money in the bank, and a little less than all of that, a little less than half each time, and gives it to the younger son and says, "All right, son, this is what you want. Here you go." And the younger son is ecstatic. He kind of didn't think this would work, but he loves the fact that it did. So he takes all this money and he goes and moves downtown, and he gets himself a really nice place in a really nice part of town, and he gets himself some nice clothes, really nice out clothes that he could wear anywhere, that were people would come by and go, "Wow, that guy is good, really put together." He threw parties every night. He got the best food he could find, and he would have all of his new friends over, and he would have a party every night, and they would have fun, and he'd sleep until noon and then get up and start planning the next party for the next night. And it would go on like this, and he would have all kinds of people. He was having a ball, and this was all great until the money ran out. Now, when the money ran out, he got kicked out of the apartment. He couldn't buy new clothes. He couldn't throw these parties anymore, and so a lot of all the friends just sort of left. He wasn't any fun anymore. He was sort of on his own, and worse yet, he had to do something he never thought he would have to do. Something so terrible he didn't even dare to think it until just now, but he really didn't have a choice. He had to get a job. Well, he picked some bad timing for this whole thing to happen because there was a famine in the land and there weren't many jobs available. So he had to go find one where that would find someone who would hire him. And, he hadn't done anything but party and wear clothes for a long time, so he didn't have a whole lot of job skills. And finally he found a pig farmer who would hire him to feed the pigs. Now there's something you got to understand. The younger brother and the older brother did not like pigs. They did not eat pigs. They did not associate, but they didn't even have bacon. I mean, really, they didn't have bacon. They hated pigs so much they didn't even want bacon. And so here's this guy. They thought the pigs were dirty and all kinds of just disgusting creatures. They were wrong. Pigs are cool, but they didn't want to do this. And so, but they end up feeding these pigs. He ends up having to feed these pigs, which is demeaning and demoralizing enough. But also, he wasn't being paid very much. The guy who owned the pigs didn't really take care of his employees very well. And even though he was working hard and working all day, he was starving. He was slowly starving to death. He couldn't find enough food to eat. And he was losing weight, and he was feeling sick. And so eventually he's sitting in his apartment and in his new place, which is not really an apartment. It's just sort of the back room of the place. And he's like on his little cot, and he thinks, you know what I need to do now? I can't think of what else to do but steal the food that I'm feeding the pigs and eat that myself. And if the pigs were disgusting, the food they ate was really disgusting to him. And he almost did that, but then he thought of another plan. He said, you know what? When I grew up at my father's farm, he took care of his employees. They all had enough to eat. They all had a decent place to sleep. They all had enough, to clothe themselves decently, raise a family. He took care of them. So maybe what I need to do is go back to my dad and ask him to hire me. And this does not make him happy because of, well, two big things. One, he's going to have to admit failure to his dad. And two, his older brother is still there. So, but, what has he got? Doesn't have much of a choice. So he doesn't have anything to collect. He just gets up, tells the pig keeper bye, and leaves. Pig keeper probably complains about these younger brother types who don't really, aren't really willing to stick it out at a tough job. Anyway, we don't need to think about the pig keeper anymore. We're going to think about the younger brother who ends up going home. But he needs to tell his dad something when he gets there. And so he starts practicing a speech. And he starts off, he's like, Daddy, no, Daddy's not good. That's not going to work. Dad, I messed up. No, that's not good. Father, that's better. Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I like how this sounds. Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please just hire me as one of the hired hands and let me work on the farm. I beg you, I'm desperate. I don't have anywhere else to go. And he works out this story, and he's walking back home, and he's practicing it. Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please hire me as one of the hired hands. I'll do any job you want. I'm desperate. Finally, he gets to where he's getting close to the home, and he turns onto the road that leads to the farm. And the dad's out front working and looks up and sees the younger brother way off in the distance. And the dad, who's very much like God, dropped everything and ran out to meet his son. Just, for an old man, he's booking it down the street. And he gets up close to his son, and the younger son begins his speech. He says, "Father, I have sinned against heaven, against you. I am no longer worthy." And he doesn't even finish the part of the thing because his dad squeezes him so hard he can't breathe. He doesn't finish his speech. The dad has him in a bear hold, and he's just grabs him and he just hugs him. And he looks at him, takes him back, he looks at him and says, "You're skin and bones. We need to get you some food. Oh, I can't believe you're home. Come on back." And he takes him back into the house, and he says, look at this, his feet are nothing but blisters. And he gets some of the hired hands around, some of the people he has employees, and he says, would you go get some shoes? Just find him some shoes. There's got to be some shoes around here. Get some shoes for his feet. And go get him some food to eat. Good Lord, when's the last time you ate? And the dad's like he says, get him some clean clothes. His clothes are in tatters. How long have you had those things? They're falling apart. Let me get you. And so he says, get him some nice clothes to wear. He's home. I can't believe I know what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do. I know what we're going to have a party. We're going to have a huge party. We're going to have a huge feast. And I want the best cook in town. Somebody go into town and find the best cook in town and tell him to come out here with his staff. We're going to set up a huge party here. Invite everybody you can find. And all the employees, you're all welcome to. I'm going to need a lot of help setting up. But once you've done that, once we've got everything together, I want everyone in this party because my son's home. And I want the DJ that the kids like. They're good. I want him here, and we'll set up a dance floor, and we'll have music and food, and I don't know. Maybe we'll get a comic or something. We'll have a ball. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a great party. All of you, everyone. This is wonderful. My son is home. All right. Now I told you before about the older brother, that he had his own problems. Well, it's time to go see him. While all this was going on, while the dad was getting the party ready for the younger son, and the younger son had come home, the older brother was out in the field, out back. He didn't know anything had really happened. He was working really hard. He worked really hard all the time. Every day but the Sabbath, he was out there, sun up to sundown, and sometimes early and sometimes later. Often early and later. He was out there working hard, and he would do basically anything that was happening in the farm. He was out there. He would supervise. He would help get stuff done when it needed to be done. Real conscientious worker. He was out there, and he looks up and sees that there's some big commotion going on in the house. And of course, he's too important to get him, and the work he's doing is too important for him to go and just walk inside and find out what's happening. So he gets one of the other employees and he tells him, go find out what's going on in the house. There's some kind of commotion happening. Let me know. And so the worker goes in the house and comes back after a few minutes and says, "Oh, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this." The worker says, "Your brother is home. He's come back home." And the older brother said, "Did he now?" And the worker says, "Yeah, he looks like he's skin and bones. Looks like he hadn't eaten in a week. I don't know. He doesn't look very well, but your dad is getting him fed and getting him some clothes and stuff. His shoes were terrible. His clothes. We had to take his clothes out back and burn them. They were just, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, he's back, but he's back home." The son was skin and bones, huh? The older son says, "Oh, okay." Seems about right. And the worker says, talk to your dad. Your dad's running around like crazy. We're having a huge party tonight for him, to welcome him back home and to celebrate the fact that he's come back home. He's invited everybody. He wants the workers to help him set things up. I guess nobody came out to see us. I don't know why, but now I'm supposed to tell all the workers that they're to knock off early and come help set things up, and then once everything's together, come back and join the party. To tell you that too. So the older brother says, a party he's throwing. And the worker said, yeah, a party. He told me to, look, he told me to knock off early. Is it okay if we just kind of quit now today and we'll pick it up tomorrow? We could all start a little earlier tomorrow if you need to. And the older brother says, well, yeah, he's the guy. He's the boss man. If he told you to knock off early, then I guess you should knock off early. Go on. Go tell everybody what's going on. And the worker says, okay, fine. Are you coming back in the house too? And the older brother says, I got some stuff to do out here. Y'all go on inside. And the worker says, oh, all right. And goes and tells all the other workers, and they leave him. And the older brother's standing out in the field and pacing and fuming. He is too mad. He's too angry to go back in the house for a party. Well, after a while, the dad, who's a lot like God, sees the older brother out in the field, and it's like, well, why isn't he in the house? I wonder what's wrong. So he goes out to the older brother and he says, son, what's wrong? They told you about the party, right? Your brother's home. You should come on in. We're going to have a big party tonight. You should be part of it. And the older brother says, you want to know what's wrong? You want to know what's wrong? I will tell you what's wrong. I'm out here working for you every day but the Sabbath. I work long hours for you. I'm out here in the fields, in the hot. I'm in the smelly barns. I'm helping you with the livestock. I do a lot of the work around here. I do so much of the work around here, and not even once have I had my friends over even for lunch. Certainly not dinner, and certainly not for some big party. And yet, that son of yours goes off, spends all your money on stupid things, awful things. From the stories I've heard, he spent his money on loose women and on parties that everybody got drunk and got violent. There were fights. I heard all about what was going on at these things. And he comes home with his embarrassed and a total failure. And he comes up to you, and you tell him, that's cool, let's have a party. That's what's wrong. You want to know what's wrong? That's what's wrong. You're what's wrong. And the dad says, okay, shut up. You're telling me you're out here working for me, but you're not. You're not. You're working for you because you want to prove to yourself that somehow you are worthy to be a son of mine. You are trying to earn your way and tell yourself that somehow You have made it yourself. You have done it. You have worked hard. And whatever you've gotten is because of your efforts and your doing. And that is not how this works. You're just like your brother inside. Your brother's inside keeps going on and on about, I'm not worthy to be called your son. And you're out here telling me I am worthy to be called your son because I work so hard. Neither of you are worthy to be called my son. It doesn't matter though, because being my son isn't something you earn. It's something you are. I love your brother and I love you more than you can ever know. More than you can even imagine. Your brother, who I love, left here and was lost to us. He was gone. And now we found him. Or he found us. Who cares? He's home. It's good to celebrate. We're going to have a party because it's a party thing. He was lost, and he's found. For all practical purposes, he was dead. And how often do you get to see the dead come to life again?